And yes, so we are going to know more about him. Say hi to the world.
Hello everybody, my name is Franz. I guess I do a short introduction. I am born in Germany. I've been living the last 35 years away from my home country, like in places like California, a lot in Bali, in New Zealand actually. And I do have 4 kids, and yeah, and I'm pretty happy right now in Bali. And
Yeah, so Franz is someone who creates a men's circle here in Ubud, which is very interesting. Maybe you can tell us more about it. How could you create men's circles?
actually,
What was the history?
it's actually pretty easy. Like everything in my life, it was initiated by crisis. So I decided to change my life, and men's circle is a really nice outlet for me to get together with men and to share about our feelings and all I can share about my goals. I can share about everything. Mostly we share about what's challenging right now in your life. So for me, it's like a big part of empowerment. The one organization I joined is called Mankind Project. It's in over like 35 Western countries, and so we're learning about it. Attended a lot of seminars, and we are learning about processing certain things. So it's not only that like I'm complaining all the time about the same problem. So it allows me also to work on it and to move on. So for me, it's about empowering, supporting, and it's a very nice. I do it once a week. Ubud actually sometimes twice. There's actually 3 men's circles right now happening, and different formats, but I love it.
Okay, so we've just heard that Franz made men's circles because crisis in your life.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we're quite interested in what's happening with the crisis. What do you mean by that?
So my biggest crisis, and the one where I changed really a lot of things, because if I'm not in crisis, I'm in the comfort zone. I might not be fulfilled, happy, but I live like a comfortable life. So the biggest crisis in my life was like when I was, I would say, in the age from 36 to 39, and was my wife. Like the mother of 3 of my kids, she decided to separate, and then like after a year, she took my kids back to California. So I was without my marriage, without my kids, and then on top of that, my father died, and so I went really deep, and it was a very sad time. It was a very I felt like very hopeless. And I reached out for support. Luckily, I always had connections, good connection with good friendships. So, particularly, like my best friend from California is a doctor. He just flew over here to Bali to spend like 2 weeks with me, where we went every day on beach walks and all that. And I stopped eating at that time, and I was really down, and from that I slowly came back. I forced myself to do a lot of sports. I didn't do the drug thing or the drinking thing, which a lot of men actually can do. So there's like one thing comes in my mind, Chinese word for crisis. And they have 2 symbols, and the first symbol says danger. So that's the danger. You're going really downhill. A lot of men, like 75% or 80% of suicides are done committed by men. So they don't have that outlet. Like I think women talk more about it, and men they feel ashamed. Like they feel like so they stay inside, and that's what they're losing their kids and all that, and can it lead to suicide. And so that's the danger part. And that's the second symbol I love, is opportunity. So for me, and it's total reflection of my crisis, where I went through these dark zones, these really dark times in my life, and then I explored new ways of living. Where I made sure, I just did recently a workshop about self-love, and that's part of it too, that I took care of myself, that I fulfill my own needs. Can be like once a week or twice a week, go to play soccer, or go to the beach, but have my own time, and that I'm learning to be comfortable with myself.
So we also understand that you do this also for teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So our biggest question is how is your relationship with your children?
It's funny because we just talked just before that interview. We talked about some challenges, and I definitely had I was a single dad, for almost 10 years, 9.5 years, and I always tell people the ages between, I would say, 14 and 19, 15 and 19 was my most challenging times. So, and in a lot of ways, my kids came up to me and said, "Dad, you're supposed to be our friend." And my response was usually, "No, I'm not your friend, I'm your father." So at that time, they needed boundaries. They needed really that mostly in that age, it ends up sometimes in conflict. And it's also really creative, or we're really creative in manipulating, so if one child didn't get that, the next came. So I was pretty tired. I had my own company, and I had to be in the office at 4 in the morning. So it was very challenging to be a single dad at that time. My relationship now, that was your question, I went a little bit around, but that's part of it, and my relationship is like with two, I have 4 children, so with 2 I have a really, I talk to them once, twice a week. Mm-hmm. Then I have my daughter, my youngest one, she's 29 years old, and so she occasionally, and then I have one son who's my introvert son, and he never responds, and so for me that's very challenging. So when I see him in person, he lives in California, he hugs me, everything is okay, but he just doesn't communicate, and for me that's makes me sad sometimes, and it's challenging, and I just keep writing him. I talk about my life, but definitely it's still challenging. I think it never ends.
Yes.
It's kind of because especially in the teenager phase, I was worried they would hurt themselves through drugs, through drinking, getting into a car, being with friends, and then they're doing stupid stuff.
I think that's every parent's.
Right. When I got really angry, I looked back at my childhood, or at that teenager time, and I said, okay, this is karma, I get it back now 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
So just to put it in perspective, but for me it's also holding the balance, try to be calm. I usually talk to them when I was in a good mood with them, and when it was a good, so it was a good energy, because if I would, when I started to be loud, or to start to be no, you cannot say immediately, they may have said yes, Dad, I understand, but nothing came through. So generally, I love my kids, it was the best thing that happened in my life, and I'm very proud that I was able to raise them in that way, and so children are what I say, it's the biggest achievement in my life, or one of them. So.
Okay. Well, we're getting back after this small break. Okay, now we're back again with Franz Hutter. And so...
And Mulan.
Yeah. So, yes, back to the questions that I want to ask is like, so you've been a single dad, but we saw that you had a lot of companies and you did a lot of businesses. So you were somehow very successful as well. So how did you manage all that, being a single dad and being successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, I like changes in life, you know, so that's part of it. So that's why I lived in different countries. For me, usually after 5 years, I get kind of bored, you know, I wanted to do some new things. And so, yeah, it wasn't planned that way, you know. At one point, like, it was really surprising that I left Germany, but I fell in love with the mother of my 3 kids in Bali. Actually, I met her in Bali. She's from California. And for me, I think I have a positive life attitude. So I want to do the best, and I don't like to be bored too much. So I need to initiate things too, you know. So for me, a very interesting thing was later to get into those. I started with meditation after this big crisis. I started to look into different, more spiritual things. But I also like, you know, with this man circles, it gave me the opportunity actually to learn how to be real authentic. And for me, that's like, you know, and I love to support people in the man circles or like in the boys to men programs. It's like, you know, to empower myself and empower everybody else. So for me, it's like to find out about my life purpose or to find out about somebody's life purpose and then to empower them to, because we have some mechanism in us who can sabotage ourselves, you know, where like we're getting, it's kind of fear, you know, to be afraid of it, and then we get lazy, or like you said, oh no, that's too much. I want to do it, but just to try it, you know, to go for it. And yes, we all fail, you know. It's like, and in our society, like, you know, it's like it's a goal from the marketing or from the TV or whatever, is like to be perfect, huh? Yeah. And but like it's more the journey, huh? So the journey for me is important, that we really go for it, and also having joy, you know, and having like connection with people.
So I'm still curious, like, how did you went through all of that? Like, did you achieve one of your dreams, maybe? Or because you have this crisis going on, and you had a dream probably also at those times. Did you achieve that?
I have constantly dreams.
Yeah, I think everyone does. Right?
The thing with me, I usually go for the dream, you know, like another big achievement in my life, and I think we talked about it before, you know, it's like this 20, I had this dream of doing a motorbike trip, originally only in South America. I think I watched I watched a movie and I got inspired, and
which movie was that? Maybe it inspired me as well.
Just thinking about it.
Okay.
It's the Motorcycle Diaries. It's about Che Guevara, and but I always liked trips, you know, in Europe with motorbikes, and so I think it would be. I had this dream going around in South America. And then, like, you know, like life happened, you know, and I had like business, and then I had periods where I didn't have money, I couldn't go, and then I had business where I had times where I was really busy, and with kids and all that, so, you know, it got like, basically, and all of a sudden, like, with 55, actually, like, you know, I had the money and I had the time, my kids were all moved out, and so I did this trip from Canada to Argentina. I mean,
amazing guys.
Was the trip of my life. And I did like 57,000 kilometers in 17 countries, and it was really pure joy, you know. And like every morning I woke up and said, thank you, you know, that I can do that. But that dream lasted like basically for 35 years until I could do it, you know. So I met a lot of young guys along the road and said, "Oh man, like I would love to do something like this, but I don't. I had a BMW, which is a fantastic bike, but I don't. I never will have that money for the bike, for the motorbike." And I said, "Hey, listen, if you have that dream, you will be able to do it. And even if you do it on 150 on a small bike, it will be still, you will fulfill your dream." So for me, it's like, really trying to manifest that, really going for it in life. And so that's also about empowerment, about like, I'm talking a lot about that in my the Boys for to Teenagers, in my Boys to Man initiation program. And, that like you really find out about your passion. And it's not so easy to find out about my purpose, and you can change through the life, So I usually I eliminate things I don't want to do, I'm still in my integrity. And so like we have certain, there's certain things we can do to find out about your purpose. But it takes a while, and it can change. So I have different spirits in my life where, this was more priority, this was more priority.
So you see, like, everyone can make their own dreams come true. It takes not 1 day or 2 days, it can take years, right? So, yeah, still keep on dreaming.
And the connection with people, I want to surround myself with good people. Always like, say, I don't need toxic energy in my life, because life can be very challenging at times, And so I have a choice. And so like I really, like in the workshops I did like a one-on-one coaching too. This is really important thing to find out, like what does the person want, where does he need to be, or she to be empowered, and that needs sometimes a little bit of push too, like. So.
Okay. Well, so if you guys are interested to talk directly with Franz about whatever you need to talk to get more support, because Franz can be a father, can be a brother, can be a best friend for you. So check on the description for his website, and you can register to talk directly with Franz. Before I end this, is there any advice or something that you want to tell to the people?
Advice is like, I actually had recently a few friends dying, and it made me realize I was very sad about it. I'm still going through the grieving, and so for me, what I mentioned in our interview, is that you really, that I try to live in my purpose, but I have also joy, a lot of joy in my life, and good connections with friends. So for me, my inner circle, to build that and to have those solid connections, because in case of crisis times, that really supports myself, and it's very nourishing while I'm doing it, So I think that's an advice.
That's an advice for friends.
And find out for yourself, where you find the most happiest, or we cannot be happy all the times, but where you are fulfilled. And I think that's, and if something doesn't work, change it.
Just keep on being happy in life.
Yeah.
That's the key, right? So that's it for today, guys. So don't forget, check on the description for the website and also for the social media of Talk to Franz. And see you guys later.
Yeah,
Bye.
I would love to hear from you, and please, if you have the feeling, please contact me.
Yes, we will directly, okay? Do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
friends.
you, Rolanda.
And I'll see you guys later. Bye.